and welcome to our regular podcast, Knowledge Empowers. As always, with you is me, Kat. 안녕하세요. Then we have Baruch.
Hello, hello, hello.
And we have Kolaj.
Dobre rano. Good morning, everyone.
Wow, you guys put too much energy. And I'm over here who wants to sleep and who studied that if you have nothing to say, you can say supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. That's the word.
Nothing.
If you have nothing to say.
I'm one of those people who doesn't consider being silent awkward, even if there are two people in the room. You see?
Yeah,
awkwardness.
Yeah, for you it's like, see, no awkwardness, and for me it's like supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Oh my god, I'm just being nuts over here. That means I need vacation.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. That's the thing, actually, Kat. We talk a lot in our podcast about how to work, how to do your job correctly, how to improve it, blah, 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 and how to be in total effective altogether. But we forget one important thing which contributes to this effectivity, and that's what you mentioned, vacation. So that's the topic I would like to open right now and ask you, both of you, what is for you important about vacation?
From which aspect? Is
What
it like
aspects
if
are there?
well aspects are like, are we staying by seaside or are we going to mountains?
No, you are taking vacation, and what is important for you about this vacation? What this vacation gives you?
Okay.
A new boost of energy for me.
Yes. It's kind of, for me, it's time to turn off anything work related or even personal things. Like I'm just out of time and out of place, out of usual time and out of usual place, just to forget the reality for a week, for example.
And switch off computer, not to touch computer at all. That's my always main and major aspect, not to touch the computer.
So what I heard is to get the energy, to forget the work, so to clear your mind a bit.
Yes.
Also to change the routines, so to change the environment where you are, to somehow start anew, to have some sort of restart. Is
Correct.
there anything else?
It's sometimes for me, it's kind of like when I say forget things, it's to forget them so I can learn something new or absorb some new sights, new sounds, go to a museum again, learn something new, kind of expand a little bit in different areas.
Okay, so to gain new experience, new knowledge, new something.
Learn new culture.
Learning.
Yeah.
Learning.
Yeah,
and
first time for me when we were in Gran Canaria this year that I visited something that belonged to Spain. Never been in Spain at all. So tons of new experiences, especially about their siesta, and you stayed hungry. Lots of new experiences. But the change of environment is like for us the biggest boost of energy.
the things you mentioned about vacations are really important for us to be effective. It's really important for us to give ourselves time and space for breathing out, to get relaxed, to switch our body and mind from this high alert state because I need to perform into the calm state. Okay, so now I can rest, because otherwise, all the things happens like stress, diseases, or burnouts, or whatever there is.
Kat, maybe you have a story.
Oh, I've got a really good story related to this. And Kolaj observed it, like literally being with me in the car. So as soon as I say the word vacation, my body listens and it goes like all the adrenaline just drops down, immune system drops down, and bam, I just get the herpes, right? And it's either around my lips or just on my face. What Kolaj observed was we really enjoy our vacation, thankfully. And it was on the way back home when it just started. And I had like huge ones right on my face and a nose. But as soon as we travel with my husband somewhere, it's like that first day, it just started appearing. I'm like, F this, again, vacation. So for me, the word even saying vacation is like forbidden.
Yeah.
But that's my body coping with it. And it just shows me like, yes, you were under stress, no matter that you didn't feel it, but yes, you were. So here it comes. I'll show you. And I go like, well, thank you.
I've heard stories about this. Like, okay, for example, one of my friends, when they were working really heavily even during the weekends, for like 2 or 3 weekends in a row, because there were like financial things to do. After the first weekend and the first week after, like they get switched off. Like, okay, so we finished everything, the heavy work, now we can get a rest. And they spent like a week on sick leave because they weren't able to actually get out of the bed because they had fever, flu, and all the symptoms actually kicking in. And this was regular for her, like once per quarter, all the time. There was
Wow.
So this really can lead to stuff.
Yeah. This is why it's important to deal with your stress, and we have a episode about that one as well.
Yeah, how to cope with it. How to build your resilience.
And now I would like to dive a bit specifically to our work environment, because we are getting vacation days here in Slovakia. I think that you are getting those in China or some other parts of the world, that you are allowed to take vacation for a certain period of time, like 20 days, 10 days, 15 days, whatsoever. How do you plan it? Do you take it in a huge chunk, in bits and pieces? How do you do that?
For me, I will actually try to adjust it according to my family's plans and my teammates' plans. So, yes, we usually go somewhere abroad for summer vacation. So it would make sense to take a bigger chunk there. But at the same time, of course, Christmas is a thing. So that's like 5 days there. And then another 1 day here and there, just to, fill that quota that we have.
For me, it's a bit different. So during the COVID, because we were not allowed to leave Slovakia, right? Or I remember at the beginning, you couldn't even leave your region. So what I did back then was like, yeah, I have 25 days of vacation, but I'm not allowed to go anywhere. What's the point? Like, for me, being at home made no sense. So I literally, during the summer, took every Friday off. And then we went lots of hiking just to get, the vitamin D. Now when the borders are open and situation is somehow stable, and finally I can sort of dream, let's say. So like me and Baruch, we're discussing because we want to go to South Korea, even though it will be happening next year. But I need to already calculate with it because I need to save minimum of 10 days of vacation just for that. And so calculating where will I put. And also we're planning to go back to Australia. So again, couple days there. So usually with that, when we already have plans like this, I just look at how many days of vacation I have for that year, and then I plan it. And I also found out through my experiences that if I take minimum of 2 weeks off is when I really fully recharge. If I'm 3 weeks on vacation, the third week I already have that nudge like, I'm getting bored. I want to do some stuff. But 2 weeks is like, that's exactly like, okay, I was able to get recharged and have the energy again to go back to work. 1 week is not enough for me. But that it comes probably with the age and with the experience when you are testing it. Before, even 2 days were enough for me. But now I really need like 2 weeks off.
Yeah, and the vacations and the switch off is really impacting our body in various ways. And yeah, it can be that with age, it differs. The truth is, Kat, what you said, like you need 2 weeks or at least the week to switch off. and start recharging. That's really true because our body needs to be adjusted and get the stress out of our bodies. And it's really taking a lot of time. It's not just 1 hour and then all the cortisol from our body is gone. It really takes days or even weeks. That's why when you are burnt out, it takes even a year to get out of it, out of the burnout. It can take for us several days to switch off and start enjoying the vacation. The thing which you mentioned, like you are bored, that's usually my most favorite part on the vacation. I'm trying to get bored intentionally because that's when the creativity starts. That's when your brain starts to do the creative thing, like, okay, what I can do, what I can combine and stuff like that. So you recharge the batteries, but then the boredom is the great part of it. Like, okay, now the creativity and creative part can really start within me. I wouldn't throw those days out.
Well, every time we travel to Australia, it's at least minimum for 4 weeks because tickets too expensive. The flight takes like almost 2 days until you reach Australia. So, and you are devastated by the flight by the end of it when you arrive. So if we do fly there, it's the minimum are 4 weeks that we're taking. So that's why if we fly to Australia, it's once in 5 years. So I can really properly plan it. So I get to that part to get bored as well, but I don't like it. I'm not enjoying it the way you do.
Is there actually, I'm sorry, I'm going off topic, but is there a way to enjoy that part of holidays?
Well, he does. He just said
I
it.
do.
I mean, is there a way to learn how to do it?
Okay, yes, there is. You just need to reduce the amount of disturbing elements. So turn your phone off, put your books away, just observe the surrounding, observe the nature, the beach, wherever you are, and just be there in that moment with yourself. And you will see that slowly but surely the boredom will come in, and then you will be creative, or then you can be creative.
It's kind of like a meditation, right?
It sort of is. It's just that you will be really willingly and forcefully putting yourself away from all those notifications you have on Facebook and LinkedIn and everywhere. And your brain is getting into the period of, okay, so there is this just calmness and I can think of something else. I don't need to be mindful or careful about the phone itself. For example, our brain capacity is used for notifications and we are like subconsciously thinking about what's happening on Facebook, on LinkedIn and social network, even when you have your phone next to you and closed. So you really need to get rid of the phone, really like put it far, far away. So your brain is like, okay, it takes too much energy to be thinking about this notification now. So that's why it's good even to leave your phone. I think that it's not really possible right now because we have a lot of applications right now in our phones, but like leave it behind in the room or at the house and travel without the phone or without the laptop so that you can't connect and that your brain needs to know that you can't connect.
That just reminds me, it's a sidebar, but it just reminds me every time when I'm on the beach and I literally sit in the sand and I look at the ocean or sea and the waves, and it just brings me this absolute joy, the thrill, like, oh my God, I just love it. And then I take, of course, lots of pictures of my feet just to piece of fish off. It's a sidebar. Fisho, you are mentioned again. We should invite Fisho once for our podcast for sure.
So we were talking about these vacations, how we take it. Is there something specific you do at your work to prepare for this period of time that you will be off?
Yeah, definitely. Yes. Katka.
So what is it?
Okay, so in this, like, I have different experiences, depends on the job roles that I work, but for example, in this current job role, because each of us in my team, we are delivering events. So we all have made agreement that either you first plan events across the year and then you plan vacation, or vice versa, you first plan your vacation and then you plan the events around it. And the reason behind it is that because each and every one of us delivers more than 100 events a year, it wouldn't be simply fair that you go on vacation and you put another 3 events on the shoulder of someone else. And because we have the luxury to plan it, it's very easy to plan around it. Yes, I do put a stand-in, but again, the stand-in is there only in case of like super duper emergency, something, but not to do your job. First of all, it's not possible. You can only perform one job, not two jobs at the same time. And second of all, wouldn't be fair towards the colleague. But of course, if something happens, they are capable to step in. And for that, as an example, every time we plan events, your stand-in is always as optional. So they can literally step inside and have access to the education itself, etc.
From my side, I think I plan very similarly. I will definitely take a look at the availability of my team members and how they plan their vacations. Maybe in this sense, my planning is less complex than Kat's.
And also, like, thankfully right now, I don't have a job where let's say if all of us would go on vacation, for example, that the type of work would be damaged. We don't have that type of a work. Whereas if I go back, the previous job we had, so we couldn't have that luxury that all the team would go on vacation. So there had to be minimum of people to cover. So there had to be different planning behind that. Me as a manager, I would not allow the whole team go on vacation. Which reminds me also, when you ask the junk, like, are you taking the whole junk at the same time? And just to mention, here in Slovakia, if you are to the age of 32, you are allowed to have 20 days of vacation. And if you reach the age of 33 and above, you have 25 days of vacation. And I had team members who were quiet somewhere there, and then they took all 25 days at the same time in December. And literally it was like, I literally don't care about the others, right? So I had to be very wise and careful of that part as well.
There is another thing that I do, to prepare is not just planning, but also making sure that everybody knows that I'm out. So it's setting up that out of office messages, right? So definitely make sure that you have this automatic notices that go to everybody who will write to you during your vacation. And if possible, you can set it up also on your chat software where people are trying to reach you. It can show that your status is out of office.
That reminds me, one very good practice that Joshko taught me. Joshko Otkay, I have this like very vivid in my memory, because when you're setting up your out of office where you put all your stand-ins, right? And usually what happens after vacation is all the emails that are waits for you. And so he taught me to actually put in an out of office that you will literally delete all of the emails while you were on vacation. And if there is anything important, please reach out to me again after my vacation.
Do you still do that?
Right now, no, because I don't receive that much of a chunk emails. It's very easy for me to go through it and prioritize and delete. But in the previous jobs, I received like more than 100 emails a day. So I start applying it, and the whole stress of once you come back, gone. And it was very liberating when I put that sentence there. It was very liberating. This was like, okay, done. But also, to be honest, if I go on vacation, like the 4 weeks when we travel to Australia, I have an agreement with my upper manager or managers that I will check every second day my emails, just in case of any emergency. And that also provides me a little bit of calmness momentum, that I still have things under control, but I'm not involved in anything, just that I know what's happening, that's it. And that way, if I travel for this long period and I come back, I'm not put into stress and now jump into work, because I have an overview of what's happening. But I'm not touching it because there are people who are dealing with it, but just so I have the overview. But only if I go on a much longer period. If I go 2 weeks, I'm not even touching computer at all. So, how are you preparing college?
Well, I think that most of it you said is what I do. So being in check with everyone, setting up out of office information, like here is my stand-in and all those stuff. So yeah, that's pretty similar to me, or like almost exactly the same. I don't think that I do something different, or actually something on top.
We also have as a team a calendar where we can see one another who is on vacation, because normally only the manager is the one seeing it. But here we all agree, just so I know, even when I want to schedule a call, then I see, wow, these guys have public holiday or this and that, because I literally work with the whole world. So that helps us with the planning as well, that I see who is off when.
Yeah. And you touched also a bit the last thing I wanted to talk about, and that's like what happens when you come back to the office after the vacation. Like, what are your first steps?
Want to shoot yourself?
You need vacation after the vacation.
Exactly. You need to take vacation after vacation.
Yeah. So you talked about the period when you come back and you have those emails there, and the stress can come up
Yep.
if there is too many of those. You
Correct.
also said that you are bypassing it slightly by checking your emails every second day, right?
Correct.
So that's also happening. Although I'm not sure that is a really like the healthy approach, because like it's
Yep.
gonna take your brain back to the work. But it works for you. That's great.
Correct.
Let's go with that. Is there anything else that happens?
So, like you've said, it works for me. So it really needs to be every person needs to find what works for this. This is like a tip, right? Not one of the tips. But I only do this if I go more than 2 weeks off. And it's like, especially when I was a manager and I had to deal with all of the approvals and administration work, that made me calm. And also when I came back, I was with no stress because I knew all of this is already cleaned up. Otherwise, I would need to take another 2 days off just to clean up all the emails. But also what Josko taught me to put that sentence there, ever since I started it, I literally came back, took all of the emails and I archived them. Didn't even look. Whatever was important would come back. And funny part was, maybe one came back. And I had like 700 emails, like just standing there. And for me, I know people who have like 700 unread email and they're fully okay with it. For me, that's like a huge stress. I need to have 0.
Yeah, same.
So I would go like nuts. And so literally I just took it, Control all, take the bunch, archive it, done. And if it came back, I dealt with it. And funny enough, of course, the first experience was scary to do it. But once I experienced that only one person or maybe 2 people came back, it was very liberating, like, wow. And so I started using that. Then when I became manager, and I started applying that every second day, I just checked emails, had overview, okay, I don't need to deal with it because my stand-in, but had the overview, it calmed me down. And also once I came back from vacation, I knew where I'm standing. So I didn't jump like into like a huge stress, like, and now what, right? Nowadays, I just come, I'll just check emails, okay, what's happening. And sometimes even takes me 1 week until I'm able to just go through it because I'm just lazy. And that's it.
To me, actually, like going through email is kind of a way for me to ease into work. Because to me, reading emails is kind of relaxing, let's say. Well, it depends on an email, right? But I first go through all of those, like announcements and whatever. So it feels just like reading. And then I go into like actionable ones. So, when you go for a long vacation, the announcement emails can pile up. You can have quite a lot of those. So I kind of like set my brain to like ease into work, telling it like, hey, you're back in work. You don't need to yet solve any troubles, issues, but hey, this is work and soon you'll have much more difficult stuff to deal with.
I go first of all invitations, just so I know what's ahead of me in the calendar, what I need to. So if I go through the emails, the first thing are invitations, and then either I accept them, decline them, etc. Just so I know what's ahead of me for that day or the next day. And then
that's what I usually do when I'm not going for a vacation. But when I come after, I kind of like, usually I don't, well, our calendars work the way that even if you don't accept the invitation, you still see the meeting there. So I don't really bother with it. So that's why.
Interesting.
Yeah, I use also one other aspect, and that's the team. My usual morning after a longer vacation is usually like with the coffee in the hand and, hey, team members, what's new? And they will tell me, and they will we will start talking and have the social interaction, and they will tell me what's new. So I don't really, I know already what's waiting then in my calendar or in my mailbox, and I can go easier through that. But the social interaction is what makes the day more easier. So to meet everyone who is important to me, not just my team members, but the managers, talk about the vacation. So some sort of remind the good vibes, share them with others. Like, yeah, I was on that beach and it was awesome, and everybody's fucking jealous. So but that's my slow morning after the vacation.
It's interesting that me and you, Collage, we are kind of like trying to take the easy road or like do something nice before you do the job. And Kat is the opposite. Like she's like diving with her feet first. And yeah, like.
I just like to have things under control. I'm sorry. But with all this said, I have to also say a few important things. One, take vacation. They are there for you to take it. Even like during COVID, as an example, and you were stuck in four walls, right? Literally, take days off. Like, take it. Then, okay, maybe you are very limited to do stuff, but you can exercise, or you can watch your favorite series. Maybe you can draw, just clean your house. I don't know, whatever. Just don't work. It's very important to switch off and take it off. Do not do things that you will wait the whole year without any vacation. Don't do that. It's not good for your health. Maybe if you think I'm young, I can cope with it. Eventually it will come back and harder. So learn, take vacation. Also here in Slovakia, I don't know how it is in other countries, but a manager can send you on vacation, on 2 weeks vacation. And I thought I will never have that experience, up to the point when I had a 19-year-old gentleman working for me, and he was still not taking vacation and not taking it. And then I had like lots of discussion, and I'm like, plan it, otherwise I'll send you. And he just ignored me, up to the point that he was already 7 months on the position. And I'm like, no, dude, you cannot go 7 months with no days off. And I literally sent him on 2 weeks vacation. And I said, dude, I told you, I warned you. Now you're going. So yeah, manager has a power here in Slovakia to literally send you on vacation up to 2 weeks. We can send you on a vacation up to 2 weeks. So it's really important to learn to take the days off. Even if you love your job, and it's perfectly fine. I enjoy my job. But then again, I go on vacation and boom, the herpes come, because obviously I was under stress without even realizing it, right? So it's important to take it. The world will not collapse.
Yeah, I think many people fall under the impressions like, oh, but what will the company do without me? Yeah, they will deal. Come on.
Exactly. They'll survive.
It's not only that, what will company do without me, but does it mean that if I take vacation and company can deal with everything, does the company actually need me? So it's the fear of, like, I'm not needed, That's the thing. Like, the company doesn't need me. So if I'm not needed, what am I doing there? They can replace me easily. And then it's about the stress of being let go, So that's also the thing which is usually there.
So that will be for next, but I'm writing it down to discuss this into details for later. So sum it up, guys. It's a summer, at least here in Europe. Take vacation. minimum 2 weeks, right? Or prolongate your weekends. If you hate Mondays, take Mondays off. So you start your week with Tuesday.
So you can hate Tuesdays.
For example, you will change it to different day. So prolongate your weekends. I'm taking tomorrow day off. We are hitting on our motorbikes and going on a 3 days trip. So definitely it's worth it. Take it off. Get recharged. We've shared lots of hints and tips. If you have other tips, make a comment, let us know so we can share it with more people. And with that, I'm gonna say 수고하셨습니다.
Bye bye.
Ciao, bye bye.
This podcast represents our own opinions, experience, and our own ideas. We do not represent any official statement from our employers, and this is not their official channel representing the company.